Hello, it is August the 14th, 2025, and it's time for the weekly word, and the weekly word is cracked. Our key verse is Jeremiah 2, verse 13. The New Living Translation says, "For my people have done two evil things. They have abandoned me, the fountain of living water, and they have dug for themselves cracked cisterns that can hold no water at all." So this is an amazing verse. It's full of imagery, it's full of metaphors. But what does this have to do with me in 2025? Well, it starts out with my people. Jeremiah, he's not talking to atheists or people who profess to be of another religion. He's talking to the people of God. In modern times, we would say church people. So, is there any place in our lives where we are replacing God with a cracked cistern? And this is something that can happen knowingly or sometimes without even really realizing it. So let's start out by defining a couple of these words. And the first one is cistern. Well, a cistern is simply a water tank. And in America, if you have a well, you simply hit the switch and the electricity hits the pump and the water comes out the tap. But actually, if you live in the city, most cities have a water treatment plant and there's a big water tower and they pump the water up into that tower so that gravity brings it to the whole community. Another word for that water tower is a cistern, but usually cisterns are underground. But either way, that's the concept. It's the concept of a water tank. Many places in Asia use water tanks to store water either underground or on the roof or both. But when something that holds water is cracked, there's our key word. The definition of cracked is to be damaged or split. When something that holds water is cracked, then all the water leaks out. The verse said that these cracked cisterns held no water at all. So we're given a contrast in this verse, a contrast between fountains of living water. I want you to picture a pure mountain spring bubbling right out of the mountain. That's what's pictured behind me. It's not hard for me because I've been there. I've seen them. I've drank from them. They're cool and they're refreshing and they're moving water that bubbles right from the top of the mountain versus a cement or earth water tank. You know, with a water tank, the water is prone to get stagnant. Bugs crawl in there and mosquito larvae get in there. And if the tank is cracked, you can be losing water as fast as you put it in. So a main point to this illustration is the water. That water is necessary for life. And this can't be overstated because 55 to 60% of an adult's body is water. But like many illustrations in the Bible, the even bigger point is the spiritual application. And the application here is that everyone is thirsty for something. Whether they realize it or admit it or not, everybody is doing something to quench that thirst. So we build our lives around things that bring satisfaction, things that quench those thirsts. Things like love and acceptance, or things that give us a sense of pleasure, things that give us a sense of accomplishment. Take, for example, love. Love is a legitimate thirst. But like the old song goes, we can be looking for love in all the wrong places and in all the wrong faces. So Blaise Pascal, the French philosopher and mathematician, said there is a God-shaped vacuum in the heart of every person, and it can never be filled by any created thing, but only by God made known through Jesus Christ. Wow. We were created in the image of God. So we have a mind and a will and emotions. We have desires and longings and thirsts. So where does the cracked come into all of this? Well, who wants to listen to a weekly word on cisterns? But the word cracked, that's a lot more intriguing. So that's why I picked the word cracked, but it could have been cracked or cisterns or both. When you put water in a cracked vessel, it might hold it for a little bit until the water leaks out, but then, like the verse says, you'll have no water at all. And then what ends up happening is everything around it becomes a mess. It becomes muddy. It becomes soaked. It becomes ruined. Why do people sin? Well, why do people do anything? People sin because they believe it will make life better. But it's a false hope because it's an impure source of water. We believe that sin will bring satisfaction or pleasure. That's why we do it. And generally it does. There is pleasure in sin for a season, but it's a momentary pleasure. It's a cracked cistern that quickly leaks out. It loses what was stored there and leaves behind a big mess to deal with. Even good things, things God meant to be healthy and helpful, need to be kept in balance. And just like riding a bike, the secret to balance is awareness and adjustments. So every day, every moment of the day, we're making decisions and choices regarding where we are going to quench those thirsts we have in our heart for life and satisfaction. And as long as we keep God first in our decisions and our choices, just like the Lord's Prayer, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, then we're going to the fountain of living waters first. And that's the proper balance. That's a huge point here. The proper balance is if we keep God first, then we see everything in life as a gift from Him rather than a replacement for Him. So here's where the rubber meets the road. Are there things in our life where we are chasing satisfaction, but it always runs out quicker than we expected, or leaves us empty, or keeps ending up in a mess? I dare say each and every one of us have areas like this in our life to one degree or another. And we need to stop and ask ourselves, am I replacing the fountain of living water for a cracked cistern in this area of my life? Satisfaction, enjoyment, it's a gift from God. Because He's a good Father, He gives it to us. Being thirsty is a legitimate longing. But the question is, where are we filling it? So, what in your life feels cracked? Feels like you're constantly having to pour in because it's leaking out, because it's leaving you empty or causing a mess? And what is life-giving and just bubbles out of you? Psalms 145 and verse 16 says, you open your hand, you satisfy the desire of every living thing. That's who God is. Desires, thirsts, longings, they're all evidence that we were created in the image of God. And James 1:17 tells us every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights. So my prayer for you is that you drink from the fountain of living water and find joy and satisfaction in every area of your life. God bless you. Have a wonderful week.